It's 4 o'clock on a Monday, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of TAXITV Live. Woohoo! Hello, ladies and gentlemen in the chat room. There you are. Hi, guys. Good to see you all. Our guest today is Miss Andrea Stolpe, who I haven't seen since you were the second to last guest pre-COVID, so you've got that happening in your win column, I guess. Good to see you back.
Good to be back.
I want to read Andrea's bio real quick, and then we're going to listen to some songs, and she's going to give some advice. So Andrea Stolpe is a writer with 20 plus years experience in the music industry. She's penned songs for such artists as Faith Hill, Julianne Hough, and Jimmy Wayne, has worked at companies including Universal Music Pub, EMI, and Almo-Irving. She's the author of popular lyric writing, 10 Steps to Effective Storytelling, a staple text for songwriting programs at Belmont University in Nashville. Great school, love it. Berklee College of Music and University of Southern California, Thornton School of Music. Love that one too. Her online courses and video series have garnered Music Educators Grammy nominations and the prestigious Gold Telly Award for non-broadcast education videos. Andrea began her staff writing career in Nashville in 1998. With a classical piano background and Bachelor of Music from Berklee College of Music, she spent a decade honing her songwriting and collaboration skills, working as a demo singer. I didn't know that about you. That's a busy gig. And preparing for a solo release of her own in 2006. While in Nashville, Andrea began teaching courses for Berklee College of Music's online program. She later authored Commercial Songwriting Techniques, a lyric and music writing 12-week course, part of the undergraduate songwriting degree. In 2007, Andrea accepted an invitation to help design and establish the songwriting courses of the Thornton School of Music at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles, and we are glad to have you here today. Welcome once again.
Thank you. That's a lot of applause.
It is a lot of applause. Here, I've got, that's the smaller audience.
More.
There's the bigger audience. And
yeah.
Hey, it's better than
my ego, right?
Yeah, it's better than.
I think I've gotten some of that too over the years.
Anyway, it's great to see you. Have you done any live in person stuff since COVID started, or is everything remote in your world as well?
No, we have. So we've something that I enjoyed doing is physical retreats with songwriters. We'll go to the Catskills in New York. We've done a couple in Nashville, and we just got back from 2 of them in Yosemite.
Oh, wow.
So we'll take a bunch of songwriters up there and hole up in cabins, and actually quite nice accommodations, and write and learn and then jam. It's a ton of fun. So yeah, we've been kind of living life. Just
great. It's nice to be out in the world again.
It is nice. Yeah.
I see people commenting. I know that my video is choppy. They decided to do a major update to Wirecast, and I did the update over the weekend, but of course my video didn't appear choppy until today's show. So rather than trying fixing it live on the air, we're just going to live with it because Andrea is really the star of this show. Excuse me, how are the levels for you guys in the audience? Want to make sure they're good for you before we start playing some music. Audio is fine, that's great. Arena Shiloh says, we like you choppy. All right, levels are good. All right, so let's just jump right in. And for those of you who submitted, we got 115 or 120 submissions. Obviously, we're not going to get to that many songs today. We'd be here till sunrise tomorrow. So Liz literally picked some at random. Everybody's got an equal shot. And this one, speaking of shot, is called Upshot, and it is by Janet Buller, Buller. Let's have a listen.
Great.
watching for signs. You need a little opening to make it on time. Look up, it's your birthright. They're biting at your heels, you're trying to get it right. Show 'em what you got. You're the upshot. Slip it on to see how it feels. We're gonna make it happen, gonna make it real. Break it down a step at a time. Following along, it's a circular line. Show 'em what you got. You're the upshot. Show 'em what you got. You're the upshot. Shadow is dancing. Everything's a blur. There's a phantom in the mirror. Get right with my word.
So cool. Michael, do I have the opportunity to hear from the writer, or is it just us talking about the song?
It's just us talking about the song. The writer, sometimes people show up in the chat, sometimes they don't, and there's like a 20-second lag between the chat and us, so it's
It makes that hard. Usually I love to ask questions. So in other words, what are you interested in knowing about as far as getting critique on a song? Because basically as a songwriter, if you leave yourself open to critique, you will get critique on just about anything that anybody wants to talk about. And the problem with critique is often that the critique is coming through the lens of the person giving it, right? So in a sense, whatever we hear back from people is sometimes can be, well, maybe they're not that familiar with rock. Maybe they're not that into it, right? And then they give us feedback based on what didn't float their boat. Maybe they're more lyric writers than anything. And I think what you've created here, it's not supposed to be this storytelling sensory lyric. It's not like the main idea here. The vocal is really, really important in this song. I think you have the makings of a really great vocal. There's really wonderful energy throughout the tune. And, mainly, the style is such that it's not about like smart meanings in the lyric. It's just more about getting the lyric to carry the charisma of the music, right? And I think the melody and the rhythms and what's going on harmonically in terms of those rhythms that you're catching too. And I think it's very, very cool what you're making. It's really dimensional. There's a big sound field, which I really love. So I think you did an amazing job. So in the sense of, critiquing, sometimes I like to just think about, as the songwriter, you created something really special here. This is awesome. Very, very effective. And at the same time, if I, as a songwriter, want to be able to repeat writing a higher quality stuff, or I want to think about, was there anything in that experience that the listener just had that could be better or different, like in expanding my style in the next song, because we don't want to write the same song over and over and over again. One thing that I might look at is, I really love your oh, 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 the chorus. It's these long notes, and it's a melody in and of itself that I really remember. And yet, when I listen to You're the Upshot, I love that lyric phrase, and I think I'm not supposed to think too much about it. You know, if I do, then I start, well, what does that mean? And that's not the point. But I think that the melody there, I wonder sometimes if when I'm writing melody, does it grab the meaning in the lyric enough? And so, in other words, is the melody saying with music what the lyric is saying with words? And so something, and I love, you're the upshot, then the downbeat comes. I love the sort of before the downbeat setting of that, and I love the pause before it, because it isolates those words as the title. And at the same time, I wonder if you were to think about, well, if I were to write anything else, and you can always go back to this as this is my melodic motif for the title, and it's solid, would there be another rhythm or shape to that melody that would emphasize the energy and the activation of being the upshot even more than what you have now? We all know, that motif, that hook that's driving this song. When anybody says upshot, I think it's called Upshot, we're all gonna sing, yeah, you the upshot, right? I wonder if you could just hold that thought, that in this song experience, that's the moment for us that it all comes down to. And so I would just look at that. Is that the melody that's really going to captivate our attention on this song? But I love so many of the melodies and things. You've got a lot of balance in the verses, meaning it's structurally, the song is fairly safe in the verses. 4 lines, and they kind of, phrasing wise, they go along as I would expect. However, when you're saying speed it up, watch for signs, and make it on time, it's your birthright, they're biting at your heels. I mean, this is really about an experience where I think you're deciding to take the future into your own hands, and it's risky and it's scary as hell, right? And I feel like you can take chances and with your structure and do something unexpected musically, melodically, in terms of where you're singing your phrase, like suddenly using short notes or dropping a couple of beats or dropping a whole measure. So you throw us off kilter too. We can hear the danger in the situation. Does that make sense, Michael?
Yeah, it totally does. I'm looking at it the whole time you're talking. I'm going, oh, good idea. Yep. She's right. And I'm sitting here looking at it going, this would be really good for like sports highlight reels.
It would.
And it's not too on the nose. It's in the ballpark. You don't want things to be so on the nose that they're cheesy. But the whole upshot, the masculinity of this, first of all, the tempo, the vocal, the chord structure, it's all pretty masculine, which they generally want for sports. I know. Please don't send letters. It ain't my fault. I don't decide what makes it on TV. And then I got to the bridge, and I kind of went, because my shadow is dancing, everything's a blur, there's a phantom in the mirror, get right with my word. That takes it too far out. But then again, they probably wouldn't use the whole thing. I'm sure they wouldn't use the whole thing. Sure. But you might as well, if you feel like submitting it for sports videos, sports highlights, write an alternate lyric for the bridge that underscores that whole, I'm going to win, it's been a tough battle, heroic, masculine, we're fighting it out, slugging it out kind of stuff in the bridge. Because if they're going to use a second part, it's probably going to be the chorus and maybe the bridge. Probably not the verse so much in a sports highlight reel. Anyway, I thought it was pretty darn good.
It was. It really was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks, Janet.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, now we're moving on. This is pretty funny, actually. We're moving on to Michael Leeman's song, which is funny enough, called Hoops.
Oops. Another sports reference.
Yeah.
Waiting around on a Friday night, I knew at the time something's not right, so I got in my car, turned on the lights, straight to your place, but you were nowhere inside. If this is to be a broken romance, but you say try it again, I would give it a chance. I was out of my mind, I thought I'm into your soul. Maybe that shows I'm not in control, so I just jumped through your hoops again. You played a mean game, baby. Jumped through the hoops again. I saw you in town the very next night. My reaction to her really gave you a fright. You told me that you needed some space, but I figured it out. I knew it wasn't the case. I realized then that you could never be. I've been thinking of you, so what about me? There can only be one thing to say. Now you're in trouble, so get out of my way. Why should I jump through the hoops again? I can play a mean game, baby. Jump through the hoops again. Why should I jump through your hoops again? You walk a fine line, baby. Won't jump through the hoops again. Won't jump. I won't I realize now that it can never be. When I've been thinking of you, what about me? There can only be one thing to say. Now you're in trouble, so get out of my way, 'cause I won't jump through the hoops no more. I play a mean game, baby. Jump through the hoops no more. I won't jump through the hoops again. Walk a straight line, baby. Won't jump through the hoops again. Won't jump through your hoops again. Feel in control now, baby. Won't jump through your hoops again.
What say you, Andrea? Oh no, you froze. Oh no. She froze. Okay, let me send her an email and tell her to re-click. I hate when they update this stuff. Okay, I've got you there. There you are. Yeah, let me add you back to the frame. Okay, guys, be patient. Doing a little tech work here because I love doing tech work while I'm hosting the show. All right, there's that. I'm telling you, it's not Zoom. We can't use Zoom for the show. Unfortunately, our audience sometimes exceeds Zoom's capacity, but let me get this together here. Crop. I've got to shrink you down to go side by side. We'll be with you in a second. 25. All right. Talk to me. Oh no, I can't hear you again. You got to select your. There you are.
I'm here.
All right, let me get rid of that other frame so that we don't get the slap back. Talk to me now.
Okay, still got me.
Let me do one other little thing. Oh my goodness. Okay. Rendezvous dashboard. No, audio mixer. All right, we should be good.
I'm here.
I've learned so much about the new system today. More than I wanted to, unfortunately. All right, what were your feelings on that one? Hoops by Michael Leeman.
What a cool tune, Michael. I mean, it throwback, definitely. And I felt like, considering that throwback to even the late 80s, 90s, much of the content feels very, very appropriate, very much in context of what I was hearing there. I think that, I have to wait a long time, and maybe, this is the state of the commercial industry sort of re-educating our listeners constantly to when they should expect the main idea to come. But I had to get through a verse and a pre-chorus that was very, very similar in the sense that it was giving me lots and lots of lyric and lots of stuff to take in. And it wasn't until the chorus that you give us really wonderful contrast, which I loved. So I just jumped through your hoops, right? So you stretch out the melody. That's what I mean by contrast. Whereas waiting around on a Friday night is a lot of shorter notes. And when you have a lot of shorter notes, you get through more lyric faster. So I'm suggesting that I think that I began to feel a little bit exhausted of listening about halfway through the pre-chorus because it's a lot to take in. Now, this is a very normal thing for us to do when we write songs and when we play instruments. We tend to overplay and overfill our songs in a similar way, where we overexert the listener's attention. We require too much. So what I'm suggesting is that could you cut the pre-chorus down a little bit? And one way to do that would be to change your phrasing. If this is to be a broken romance, you say, try it again, but I want to give it a chance. So I'm stretching things out a little bit so that it relieves the expectation on the listener to listen for so long. And sometimes you might hear, you might feel this stuff when you're writing it, that we often continue the same rhythmic characteristics for our melody, section after section after section. But you broke it beautifully in your chorus, and I loved that. That was really great. What a cool idea, jumping through hoops again. It was very sweet. The only other thing I'd say is loosen up on your rhymes, You don't need to rhyme sight with right in verse 1. You don't need to rhyme there at all, but you were nowhere. You were nowhere. Try repetition and just cut out the last part of the line that can make it sound like you're putting more emphasis on rhyming than you are on writing what is authentically what you want to say.
That's Michael, great advice. That's great advice. I, again, agree with everything you said. Very 80s Madonna-esque throwback.
Love it.
And would be good for, again, I hate to keep going to film and TV because that's not all we do around here, but that's where my brain is today. Very good in the ballpark for that type of pitch. If somebody has a party scene, a bunch of teenagers getting together in 1987, and you need a Madonna type tune playing in the background of the party, this would be great for that. It felt like a long song, and this goes to what you were saying, Andrea. It felt very long to me. It was actually only 3 minutes and 28 seconds long, but it felt like a 4.5 minute song. And I think it's because the pre-chorus is twice as long as it needs to be. And in the middle 8, I also made an X by the middle 8. Won't jump, I won't jump, won't jump, I won't jump. I understand that relates to the whole hoops concept, but it felt like there could be a little, that was repetitious and not interesting enough. The middle 8 or the bridge just didn't feel like it added anything. It felt like they put something in there because it was necessary, but didn't give it as much effort as the other parts of the song that were better.
Sure.
But
these are just such that this is why we have to play our songs for other people.
yeah,
You just can't see these things for yourself. It's so hard to see the outside of the house from the inside. So very, very fixable issues and very common.
absolutely. The good news is you're on the right path, and
Yeah.
better to be on the right path than on no path at all.
Yeah.
All right. This one is called Middle of Somewhere, and it's by Jeff Carson.
Somewhere down that interstate, out past exit 58, turn right and head off through those cotton fields. Out there where the traffic ends, freedom reigns and life begins, where I learned as a boy just what it means. That every middle of nowhere is somebody somewhere, and I wanna be right there, as long as you're there with me. Underneath the moonlight, down by the creek side, in the middle of somewhere is where I wanna be, as long as you're there with me. It's the middle of somewhere. Learn to pray and laugh and love what it is that you're made of, out there where the city lights don't shine. Every middle of nowhere is somebody somewhere, and I wanna be right there, as long as you're there with me. Underneath the moonlight, down by the creek side, in the middle of somewhere is where I wanna be, as long as you're there with me. It's the middle of somewhere. Seasons come and seasons go, and sometimes you get lost in the middle of nowhere. You gotta get back to somewhere. Every middle of nowhere is somebody somewhere, and I wanna be right there, as long as you're there with me. Underneath the moonlight, down by the creek side, in the middle of somewhere is where I wanna be, as long as you're there with me. It's the middle of somewhere. It's the middle of somewhere.
Wow. Jeff, just awesome writing. So wonderful. I love your title. What an excellent, excellent hook. And country demands us to have great hooks and unique hooks, you know, not something that we've heard a lot. So you just did a beautiful job of that. I'm wondering if this song could just tweak that melody a little bit in the chorus so that it pays off a bit more. One of the ways in which I felt like I wanted it to pay off was to stay higher in terms of range. In the middle of nowhere is somebody somewhere. I want to be right there as long as you're there with me. Just to keep it, get some more momentum in there. The other thing is harmonically, there's not a lot of tension, right? You're going from the tonic to the 5 major to the 4 major. You do have the 2 minor in there, which helps create a little tension. But I might, and this can be totally personal preference, but I might pull it into the 6 minor as well. I want to be right there. Just grab that 6 minor so you can, pull at our heartstrings a little bit more. The other thought that I was having had to do with the lyric. And in terms of the lyric, I'm experiencing the singer as just singing about the concept, not so much in the song. And I would love for him to be at somewhere down that interstate right now. So what I'd like you to do then is to add in a pronoun. I'm somewhere down this interstate, out past exit 58. I turned right and headed off through those cotton fields. Out here where the traffic ends, freedom reigns and life begins. This is where I learned as a boy what that means. That every middle of nowhere is somebody somewhere, and I want to be right here as long as you're with me, underneath the moon. So it brings it into the present moment, and it makes it so much more urgent. Like, it gives the song a reason for being sung right now. I hope that makes sense. I want you to also think about the idea that in verse 2, you did some really good work here by saying, well, does it have to be as long? But I think that the content, it doesn't necessarily move me away from that physical middle of nowhere. Think about anytime you can take something from being a physical thing or place or object to a figurative idea. For example, you have a you character in here, and their relationship is sometimes in the middle of nowhere, but it's also somewhere. Sometimes you don't know where the relationship is going. It feels lost. But as long as we're doing this together, we're going to emerge and realize we were on the path all along. So I just considered that I think that you could make more of verse 2 and move into a concept that is another perspective on that really great title that you have. Michael?
I once again agree with everything you said. Great observations. And I made a note while I was playing, like, say it and sing it like you mean it, which I felt like the tone and the pitch of the vocalist, which I'm not sure. It sounds like it could have been a Nashville demo, although it's kind of on the cusp, because in Nashville, even a demo singer would have given it his or her all. And I felt like this singer was above phoning it in, but wasn't singing it like it's my life experience that I'm sharing with you, which is exactly what you said, using different words. It was just, and the there, over there. No, make it here, right now. This is the story I'm in, and I'm sharing it with you. And I made a note that you also said chorus needs melodic emphasis. Again, we use different words, but notice the same thing. So you just express it more eloquently than I do.
Well, from a songwriter who struggles with all of these very things, listen to "Sand in My Boots." It's very much a my and I, and it's very much right now in the song. So it's a good example of all those things. Cool.
Did you know Ralph Murphy when he was alive?
Did. Yeah.
He was a very close friend of mine. I mean, like, literally, like, a brother to me and would stay at our house whenever he was in LA, and we were golfing buddies for many, many years. And he used to always say, and pardon my French, everybody, you know, I know it's a family show. If you got kids in the room, stick your fingers in their ears. But he'd always say, I don't give a shit what's going on over there. Tell me about what's going on right here. And that was a case of this.
Yeah. So it's a tense and a point of view thing. That's how you get the hear and the eye. Yeah.
All right. The next one is called Before You Call, and it's by Max Rabinow.
Is it Mark or Max?
Oops, Mark. Thank you.
If you're out on a limb that's about to break off, I will be there to catch you. So don't be alarmed if I can keep you from harm. No perils will beset you. Just know I'll never let you out of my sight, out of my heart. I've had you with me from the start. I'll be there to break your fall. I'll be there to help you climb that wall. I'll be there before you call. If you're out on your own, feeling lost and alone, just look in my direction. And if you're caught in a storm, feeling weary and worn, you know you'll have protection where there's love and affection holding you tight deep in your heart. This bond cannot be torn apart. I'll be there to break your fall. I'll be there to help you climb that wall. I'll be there before you call. It's not really hard to understand what gives love such power and command. Trust that it's always there, watching over you, guiding every footstep, every move. I'll be there to break your fall. I'll be there to help you climb that wall. I'll be there before you call. Before you call.
This is such a sweet song. Well, you've got some harmonic chops on you. That's really, really cool. It's a lovely song in which I think the lyric paces really well over the harmonic progression. So in other words, I really like how much lyric you intend for me to take in and how quickly it goes by. So I thought that was really well done. I really loved the way that you set the last line of the chorus, which is the third time, which is really neat that you didn't keep it balanced, right? And as a section, because I think that for the first time that really highlighted some musical unpredictability. So that was really cool. I mean, all in all, the song is very safe. It's not going to throw me any collisions in terms of combining genres, asking me to think about a concept in a new way, anything like that. So I think you've got a solid song, and at the same time, sometimes when I have songs and I love all my songs, I think they're the best thing I ever wrote right when I wrote them. And then days and months go by and I'm like, oh, okay, that was one of those. It's it's fine. It's one of those, but it's going to be hard to get cut, hard to pitch, because it's sort of walking the middle ground line. And no one ever says it's a bad song. No one ever says they don't like the song. But it's nothing that anyone ever says, oh my gosh, I have to cut that song right now. Get me into the studio with it. So I would just encourage you to write like there's no tomorrow. Because if this is your, if this is what you put out when your focus is enjoying writing and putting out what you feel is good music, you're great. You're poised to write some stuff that's really going to get people's attention. But I think it's about writing a lot at that point, and push yourself by listening to music outside of your comfort zone, outside of what you typically would write or listen to, and then I think let that inform your writing to where you're starting to do some things, particularly maybe rhythmically, vocally, that and maybe even with groove, exploring some different collisions between what you've got here and other styles, so you can see what comes out when you're really playing with what you've never done before. Michael?
A lot of important stuff in there. You're going to find out why Andrea is the teacher and I'm not. I don't mean this to be harsh at all, but it's got such a severe lack of sounding contemporary that it goes to Andrea's point that it would make it hard to pitch. And obviously, you're writing if you're writing them just for you and your friends and your family, that's one thing. If you're writing them to pitch to somebody in the industry, to get cut, to end up in a film or a TV program, this sounds very dated back to the mid-'70s. Remember the TV show with the guy that he was like a ordinary guy that became a superhero? He had on like a red one-piece thing, and the theme song was "Believe It or Not." Dun, dun, dun. I can't sing it. Yeah, but what was the show?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I watched it.
Yeah, me too. The guy had curly blonde hair, and the theme song was eminently hooky. This really dates itself back to that. And so it tells people in the industry, it may not tell people on the street, but tells people in the industry, okay, this is somebody who's probably 50, 60, 70 years old that wrote this because that was the music that informed them at the time when they started writing. And so that's what they comfortably go back to, which goes to Andrea's point again about get out of your comfort zone. This is just, it's not bad. There's some good aspects of it, and I don't want to be discouraging. You need to challenge yourself now to step up and become more contemporary, which will make your stuff more pitchable if, in fact, you're desirous of that path.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it. I'm out. All right, moving on to the number 5 position here. We've got Christine Vakaleris, I Want You to Love Me.
I feed the fire, trying to drive out the cold. I want to burn out thoughts that shatter my soul. You know my secrets, all those long summer nights. I sleep alone now with the tears that I cry. I want you to love me, is what I'm trying to say. I need you to love me. I die a little each day. I want you to love me, but I don't want you to lie. I need you to love me. Don't take the road to goodbye. In the span of a lifetime, a single love can look small. All that I tried to give you, just a summer that's gone. The beach is cold and abandoned, umbrellas tossed by the wind. I sit and stare at the ocean, thinking what could have been. I want you to love me, is what I'm trying to say. I need you to love me. I die a little each day, yeah. I want you to love me, but I don't want you to lie. I need you to love me. Don't take the road to goodbye. I want you to love me, but I don't want you to lie. I need you to love me. Don't take the road to goodbye.
Oops. Okay, how'd you feel?
Wow, Christie, it's awesome. It's truly awesome. It's beautiful. Great choice in vocalist. I got some pretty strong James Bay vibes in the beginning. And I say that because I'm hearing the lyric through the lens of that style, if you know James Bay. And he can deliver a lyric that's kind of over the top. It gets a little abstract. It's very dramatic. And he can say things, I want you to love me, without it being victim-y. And it's really, really cool. So if I'm hearing it through that kind of a lens, I think there's a lot of stuff about the lyric that I really love. One thing that I find interesting is that you chose to keep the melody exactly the same through every section of the song. So the chorus, basically what's happening is the chorus melody is saying these ideas that I'm delivering to you right now as the main point are no more important than any of the other ideas I've delivered to you in the verse. That's the issue with saying. It's kind of like speaking in monotone for a whole conversation. After a while, it's really difficult to figure out what's important to the person speaking or what the culminating thought is. So I find it interesting that you chose to do that. Because this is not a lyric-driven song, because we could say, well, Bob Dylan did that, like, where's the melody? Yeah, but it's a message song. It's the lyric is everything. I think in this experience that I'm having listening to your gorgeous tune, it feels more like the lyric is making meaning of the music. So it's not as if I took the music away and I read the lyric, it lacks the passion that the music gives it. So that said, I think that the lyric is not meant to stand alone, you know? So I think that the melody, and when I say melody, then what do I mean? I want you to love me. That's a big thought. Do you want to really sing, I want you to love me? It's after the downbeat, which we have 3 places we can set something. We can set it before the downbeat. I want you to love me. We can do it, I want you to love me, which emphasizes the I. Or we can do it after, which always creates a feeling of hesitancy or apathy or an afterthought. And I don't feel like, that is an afterthought. I want you to love me. It's what I'm trying to say. And I need you to love me. Like, get me up there where I feel like the music is saying what the lyric is saying. And that would be my reason for causing a new melody to happen for your choruses. Not just, well, every song has to have a chorus and it has to have a contrasting sound. Not really. But I think here, the musical similarity is not enabling me to take in the impact of the lyrical message. I hope that makes sense.
I think that, it makes a lot of sense. I have 2 short comments. Number 1, the beach is cold and abandoned, umbrellas tossed by the wind. Really good visuals on that lyric. Thought that was great. Umbrellas tossed by the wind. It's like we can all see that. And I don't think I've ever heard anybody mention it before. So good job on being original. And I've been in the music business, I think, for 48 or 49 years, if you can believe that. And this is the first time I've ever heard a flamenco rhythm played in essentially what is a pop song ever. And just yay for originality on that. It's kind of cool.
Okay.
Anyway, that's me. I'm done with that one.
Really worth working on that one, Christie.
Yep. This one, actually, you know what? To be fair, I'm going to go to the bottom of the playlist and now work my way up, try and find some equity in how these things are being played today. So I'm going to go to a song which is called Money by Anelda Spence. Let's have a listen.
Well, I had a dream. My ship came in, and it was made of gold. Some people say money ain't everything. Well, what do they know? Yeah, money can't buy happiness, but if being rich is so bad, I wanna be filthy, stinking,
Just to show you what a jerk I am, I played that on purpose. I've never heard this song before in my life, but I saw her name on the list. I know we've gotten her a lot of placements and stuff through Taxi. I know she's a strong Taxi member, and I literally have never heard it, but I knew it would sound of today. It would sound contemporary, and I wanted to give you a platform to draw the comparison between stuff that sounds dated and contemporary. Everybody in the chat room got it. They're all like, this is great job in the production. Sounds like, today. So it's obvious. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, Anelda, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. There is nothing that I would change. There's nothing, right? I think there's a point where, songs can always change, not necessarily get better, One thing that I really love that you're doing is if I can listen to the vocal range, and it's not a challenging song to sing in terms of range. And I love that because that means that you're using rhythmic elements to create really cool melodic themes for each section, the verse and pre-chorus and chorus. Just wonderful rhythmic values to your writing characteristics. I thought that was great. There's nothing. As I was listening, and I'm not, it's we're all listening on, $5 speakers these days, basically, these wonderful mixes. But I think I was wondering to myself, would I like the vocal to be pushed a little more extreme in the delivery? But I say if you're getting placements on the vocal as you're currently delivering it, don't listen to any of that. Just keep doing what you're doing when it's working and stop getting feedback. You know what I'm saying? Because I think there's a point where you finally kind of hone in on what's working and just make more of that.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah.
She does it so well. Your husband's an engineer, isn't he, Andrea?
Yeah, he is.
So am I. So, and I'm sure he's said this 1,000 times, if not 1,000,000, that it's really hard to listen. You as a song coach, same thing. It's hard to listen to music recreationally like you did before you got into the business. You're always hearing. I could be in the grocery store and hear something in the speakers while I'm looking at, Chef Boyardee ravioli in a can or something, and still be noticing, oh, that vocal is way too soft in that mix, or the hi-hat is way too busy for that chorus, blah, blah, blah. So on this, in the plus column, in the good column, because there was no negative column, the guitar sounds were great. The backward tink was like such a sexy sound. I wanted to I think I've spoken to Anelda on the phone. I just want to call it and go, okay, what kind of guitar, what kind of amp, what kind of mic, what kind of limiter on that, because someday I'm going to want that sound. Sure. The bass sound was great. It was a great bass part that was incredibly appropriate to the song and played with enough kind of I don't give a damn bounce, but I'm really in the pocket. There was something about every little point of this song that could reach out and touch the listener, from the vocal to the lyric writing to the production to the engineering. It all works, and I knew that I would hear this having never heard the song. Also, I want to make a quick mention of the lyric on the chorus. Again, big points for originality. Need a little money, a little credit to my skills. It tells you the story in 2 lines. It's just I'm worth it, so pay up, dudes. In the form of $100 bills, a little bit of money. Sweet Benjamin, a little cold hard cash. Not brain surgery, but it's so effective.
Yes.
Anyway, great job, Anelda. Okay, I'm going to continue going from the bottom up. I hate double-sided printing. There ought to be a law, I tell you. Okay, this one is from Lark Watts, and it's called Better by the Beer. I love it. Great title.
I'm getting better by the beer. My baby drinking wine. Wild weekends by the hill. It's way past quitting time. This place is busting at the seams. I know everybody
bitter by the bill, telling all the same old jokes. Everybody laughs and laughs, but I know they've heard them all before. Good times, good band, one hell of a band. A shot of courage and I become, oh, a simple kind of man. Oh, mama told me, son. Bartender, can you pour me a cold one? Last one for the road. Before you tell us that we can't stay here, but we don't have to go home. I'm getting better by the better by the bill. My baby drinking wine. Wild weekends come and go. Oh, it's almost closing time. Somebody said last call. I love everybody here. Catch a ride, get home safe. I'm getting better by the bill. I'll see you all next weekend. I'm getting better by the better by the bill.
So nice. I mean, it's just it's a flexible song. You've got big band, but certainly country as established by this vocal. It could go George Strait. It could go very contemporary too. So I love that about it. I would say it's tricky to pitch if the demo is misunderstood in any way. So I would want to hear the horn parts really rocking if you're going to use horns at all, like really rocking. And I think it's a really neat thing to bring in some horns into your country pitch. It's pretty cool. And at the same time, I would get some feedback from, I'd like to say from some publishers to see how is even some session players. I don't know how you demo this, but it would be really interesting to see what a Nashville session player would say as far as the best way to put this forward with horns. So I think some of them are out of pocket, some of the parts are fine, but I would work on those parts so it's just really slamming. Because I want that bar to feel like a place I want to be. And I think musically, if it's, then I think it doesn't allow me to really enter into the song really well. But what an awesome title. Super fun song. There's so many great things about this. I think it's worth getting it kind of over the line to a demo that's going to really show its value.
I agree. I loved it. I think it had a bit of an identity crisis. The horn parts were cool, but I went, is it country or it left me feeling a little confused about that. But the one thing that I kept thinking was this song would get licensed like crazy. I mean, this is worthy of a placement in a big feature film. And it would be a featured placement. Here's why. So, guys at a bar. Could be girls. Again, no letters, damn it. Bar scene. And somebody's getting a little too drunk, but they're having a good time. It's bro night. Very bro night, And this song is just so perfect for it. And it's not background. It's not background source coming from a jukebox. It's actually up, and it would be fader up in between dialogue for the chorus. So it'd have a nice featured spot But all that said, who wrote this? This is Lark Watts. Lark, if you get it returned by a screener, don't say, but Michael said it was eminently usable in a feature film. It is under the right circumstance. The demo needs to be 15% better. Andrea's absolutely right. Somebody in Nashville could take this and go, I've got the problem solved. And a day later, you'd get back a demo that you'd go, oh my gosh, I wasn't doing this song the kind of justice it deserves. So there's that. But again, so you can't just send this out to a million people making movies going, anybody need this. That's not the way film and TV works. A music supervisor has to get a directive from the director on the film saying, we need like a buddy, like a 5 o'clock somewhere kind of song that can be fader up in this bar scene where the two guys, it's the end of the night, it's the last call, and they're deciding what kind of trouble they can get into now, preferably some sort of, peanut shells on the floor kind of bar. I was going to say it'd be great for, what was the movie with the guys that went to Las Vegas and got into all the trouble?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what?
It's a cult movie now.
Yeah, it's perfect for that. So there you go. You're very close. Sooner or later, this will get used if you get the demo made a little better, and this will get used not just in a little TV show, but something really good. So good job. All right, moving on. This is, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name, and I'm very sorry for that. Verlo, and it's called A Little Less Like Me. I love that title. And here we go. Yeah, play.
So difficult to capture, so easy on the eye, like Alice lost in wonder. just a little less like, just a little less like me.
Wow, Verbjorn, this is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I have a couple of thoughts. As always, take them with a grain of salt. I really love your lyric style. There's something so special about how you're writing. The ballet dancer with the loaded gun. Oh my gosh. That moment, musically and lyrically, was just unmatched. It was great. The fact that you then changed the melody and harmonies underneath Swallowing Four Seasons All in One, I didn't really need you to give me a different melody and chord progression there. I might have liked the same that I had over a ballet dancer with a loaded gun. And maybe all in one instead of, maybe you do go to the 5 chord there, or the 5/7, that's fine. But sometimes I think we don't recognize how complex our songs feel to someone who's listening for the first time. Whereas to us, it feels like, man, this is so simple. I'm afraid of being a foregone conclusion. But it's really not. And then the musical moment there with the ballet dancer was so awesome. I would love to hear that moment again in the next line. Aside from that, I felt like the drums, the rhythm section, for me, took a bit away from the song. In other words, let me say that in a different way. I think that your lyric and your vocal and your melody and your beautiful chord changes are enough to move the song in a very acoustic manner, even like single instrument and vocal, which is saying something for your song. I felt that when the chorus came in, it was dun 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 dun. It was very square, and we're all marching along. It was a little canned. I would be curious if just drop the fader on that, get that out, and let me see what you're left with. I kept thinking Queen, and I was like, oh, this is so awesome, and so, able to be carried by, again, just a single instrument and vocal. So I might play around with that, because our productions, they really just need to support the song, right? And that's easy to say, hard to do. But always I would maintain a minimalism and only add when you feel that the song is calling for something added. But not just to assume, well, I have all these instruments available to me, why not use them? I just don't think you need it. It's such a fabulous experience and very rich harmonically. Michael, what are you thinking?
Loved many aspects of it, right as always, on your feedback. The ballet dancer with the loaded gun, I circled it and made an X and a heart next to it. I love it when you hear a gem like that. You go a whole lifetime in the music industry, and I've never heard that before. Brilliant writing. And I also made a note, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Try acoustic.
Look at that.
Yeah. Great minds, huh?
It just speaks to the strength of the song.
Yeah. And I don't think I've said that to 3 people in my entire career. Usually it's like, well, if you did this, you're adding more, which is usually compensating for a lack somewhere else. If you can strip everything out and take it back to just a guitar and a vocal, there's a lot of song there. Also, love the title. Titles are really, really important, and how I've stressed this all the years that I've owned Taxi. Mm-hmm. Titles are the thing that make people want to. It's the cover on the book. It's the thing that makes them hit the play button. It's really important, and A Little Less Like Me is pretty intriguing. I want to know exactly what that's about. And I love the dichotomy. Here comes the rolling thunder. Here comes the summer breeze. So easily excited and so impossible to please. Really, really good lyric craft in there. So good job. I'm sorry, Verbjorn? Did I get? I'll practice. Great job. Okay, moving on because we've only got 13 more minutes.
Okay.
This one. Wow. Tough name again, but I'm going to do this one. This is called Crazy World, and it's by Jean Orhpanopoulos. And let's have a listen to Crazy World.
In this crazy world, yeah, baby, stay by me in this crazy world. I can't help but see how crazy this world can be. I'm so thankful for you. You helped me to see it through. I don't know what I'd do if it weren't for you. So baby, stay by me in this crazy world. No matter what comes our way, baby, stay by me in this crazy world. You're my guiding light. Yes, you shine so bright, and you always light my way. And when the night brings on the start of a new day, I want you there to keep me sane. And when I close my eyes, all I do is dream of you. And when you're by my side, I know things will be alright. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, baby, stay by me in this crazy world. No matter what comes our way, baby, stay by me in this crazy world. Baby, stay by me in this crazy world. No matter what comes our way, oh baby, stay by me in this crazy world. In this crazy world. Crazy world. It's such a crazy world. We're living in a crazy world. Oh, crazy world.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Gene. Boy, this is just a feel-good song. I just feel good when I'm listening to it. Michael was talking about grocery shopping, and I would not be surprised at all to be shopping and hear this come on the radio, right? Or come on the speakers. I would feel like, okay, that's consistent. We're kind of keeping it light, you know. Don't make anything too dark, too dramatic. I wonder if it's just a little bit slow. Sometimes it felt like the vocals were sort of waiting for the track to catch up to it, just a little bit at times. I did like the lilts, you know. Sometimes the guitar reminded me of Santana, and then at other times I'd be like, no, wait, the lyric is Disney, you know. So, and what I mean by that is it has a safety. Again, you're not really saying anything that I haven't heard before. You're kind of writing about everything at the same time on the surface, right? And it matches, I think, to a large extent what you're doing musically. Just the one tonic, the 4 major, the 5 major. There's nothing there that's saying tension, right? It's all okay. So it's kind of laughing about this crazy world. So, you know, whatever your purpose is for this song, I think that, let me say it this way, I think that your end goal with, you know, where you see yourself pitching this song is going to be determined by these qualities, because when we're pitching songs for artists, you know, writing for artists, essentially we need to be writing something that they can't write themselves, or, you know, can't write with just the people they're already writing with. We have to key into something that defines them and their brand more than they can do so on their own. And so that's the only thing about what you've got here in terms of pitching, tricky to do. Because, you know, if I think about, well, Jason Mraz does positive pop. Yeah, but he can make all that stuff. And so he doesn't need anyone to help him do that. And he writes some very specific lyrics that are a little harder to access, right? If we're just kind of generally writing some more sensory material, good storytelling, things like that. So I think, again, the song is not driven by the lyric in any other way except just the title, but it's a feel-good song. And if you look for opportunities in which that is the value, I think you're gonna, you know, you might have some luck with it, for sure. Michael, where are you at with that?
I've got no comments. You covered all of it, but I did see somebody mention that reminded them of Jay Ferguson's song Thunder Island circa 1976. I happened to be wrapping cables in Studio C at Criteria when Bill Simzik was mixing that record. So I heard it like 100 times in a day and thought it was a great record. And just want to give a shout out to Jay Ferguson, because he was like almost an eagle. He was in that camp of people, and he and Joe Walsh were friends, and Bill Simzik and everything. If you look at the credits in NCIS LA, Jay Ferguson is the guy who scores that show. Just throwing that out there. I want to catch up with you because we really didn't have a chance to talk much before the show started. What are you doing as far as the camps that you're doing, the songwriting camps or stay over workshops, whatever you call them? Do you have any coming up, and, you know, where are they, and how do people find out more?
Sure. All right, so I'm gonna, because you asked, I'm typing into the chat. That is my website, where you can find out about our songwriting retreats. So
that went into my chat, the one you and I have, but not their chat. So can you go ahead and do it against AndreaStolpe.com, right?
Please? Yeah.
You're not showing up in the YouTube, but here, Liz, can you put a link to Andrea's site in the chat, please?
Yeah, so that's a good spot. You can go there and find out about our upcoming Nashville retreats. We have a couple of weeks in August there. Basically, we take songwriters for a 5-day retreat, and we help people form a small network with we have up to 30 people on a retreat with us, which still feels pretty intimate. We co-write every day. And it's a very safe and nurturing space. You know, you've got 3 hours to co-write. We all know what that's like. to do the best we can with the time we have, to sometimes not feel inspired and still write a song. We go through all of those things together. It becomes a pretty transformative experience for people. There's a lot of emotions by day 3, by day 5, we're friends. We're good friends. And we then all funnel into my team's larger songwriting community, where we continue to meet on Zoom once a month and reach out for other collaborations for any kind of studio experience or players or anything else that we're looking for opportunity-wise. Our vision for our company was to give songwriters a space where they can figure out together, what do I do next? What's my next step? And how can I strengthen my songwriting skills and do it in community so that I don't stop? Yeah.
I completely concur with that. Almost everybody needs a co-writer, a collaborator. Not necessarily a co-writer, but a collaborator, because
Right.
everybody has a different strength and a different weakness. And there are some people that write great top line, but they can't make a track to save their life. And it's at events like yours, the Taxi Road Rally, the chat room here on this show. These are great places. You can get little hints of what people do by what they're commenting on. And, it's not so terrible to reach out to them and say, by the way, I think I'm a pretty good top liner, but my tracks sound really dated. Maybe if we work together, you would have great melody and lyric, and I would have great contemporary sounding tracks. Try it. Probably won't work out the first few times, but eventually you'll find somebody that you'll elevate each other. And that's the point, is two heads are better than one. So go to Andrea's thing and go to her website, which Liz just put in the chat room. Liz, if you'd be so kind to put that in one more time, AndreaStolpe.com.
When is the next rally? Do we have a road?
Yes, we're doing our first in-person rally in a couple of years. November 3rd is a Thursday night. That's when registration is. And the actual panels are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm scared to death because I'm a little out of practice, and I got really good at doing last year we did 6 8-hour days of live broadcasting, mostly from my kitchen table. And it worked out really well, really good programming, if I can pat myself on the back a little bit. Very few technical problems with all that live broadcasting. The thought of going back to the hotel with a couple of thousand people and, we'll have like something in the ballroom that seats about 1,000. And while that's going on, 7, 8, 9 different classes up on the second floor, it's a lot of moving parts. So I'm a little scared, but I've got somebody I'm kind of negotiating with right now to come to the road rally that I think will excite a lot of our members. The person who's not the keynote, by the way, and the person I'm thinking about for the keynote will be one of the most informative keynotes we've ever done. And this will be the 26th year of doing this. So check it out.
I've been to the road rally, and it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Really, really good. Yeah.
My favorite day of the year is always the day after the road rally.
And better every beer, or what is it? Better,
that was such a great, yeah.
Better by the beer.
Yep, Better by the Beer by Lark Watts. What a great song. Yeah. And my daughter is getting married 3 or 3.5 weeks before the road rally on the other side of the planet. So nice. I've got to squeeze that in a 15-hour flight there and a 17-hour flight home. I'll probably be there the night before the wedding, the day after the wedding, and then come back for the road rally. So going to be tired when I hit the stage this year, but excited to do it. Andrea, you're great as always. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this, giving out great advice to everybody. Again, that website is Andrea Stolpe, STOLPE.com.
AndreaStolpe.com. That's what I should have put in there. Thank you.
All right. I will see you when I see you. Thank you again for doing this. Bye, you guys. Don't miss next week's show. We're going to do a live Q&A with music attorney Aaron Jacobson. and she's always great. You guys always love her. So start writing down your questions now. We'd like to have, and please try to not make them like, well, I got a contract. Don't like read back a paragraph of a contract. Just ask one sentence questions would be much appreciated. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Liz. Bye-bye. We will see you all next week for another exciting episode of TAXITV Live. Bye.